busy tiger mom that you want to entice with a few words, right? So you need to just make it very simple for them. Oh, because they've seen like so many pretty boys and handsome guys, they all want to lay, and you only have, 30 seconds to grab their attention. So, I was in Silicon Valley, I was talking to a bunch of people, and within 10 days, I have 2 angels who wants to invest, right? And I think, again, the trick is to just really dumb it down for them. There is something called the founder's debt. Some people overdo it. It's like taking a loan from the bank, right? I'm going to build a robot with a digestive tract. Have I built it yet? A little bit, not completely. But the way I pitch it is, the same gut is going to be in every robot. And they're like, whoa, nobody else is building a gut for robots, but everybody is building a robot. So their imagination now kicks in and be like, okay, wow, cool. Let's have a coffee chat next, right? So that's called a hook. You always want the hook. But again, this is the debt that you take. It's like you take the debt from your reputational, your promised land. You take it to cash it, right? You get the investor check, 100K, 200K. If you go to SF, first of all, don't be in Canada. When you take angel checks, go to SF, right? Spend like 3 months, you can raise $500,000, you can raise $1 million pre-seed, no problem, right? So, but once you have that, you've taken this loan, it's really a debt, right? And a lot of people, they take so much debt that the interest payment really bankrupts them. Like Elizabeth Holmes or all of these 30 under 30 people, they've scammed more money than they raised, right? It's because they overdid it. But, as Homo sapiens, our special superpower is believing something that's not yet happening. It's something that, it has collectively happened in our brains. That's our superpower. That's why Neanderthals are extinct today, right? Because they did not believe in it, right? So they're gone. I'm not saying, don't be a Neanderthal. A lot of smart people, they're like, yeah, my IQ is 150, so whatever you say is bullshit. They're right. But they could also go extinct, right? Just because unity takes price, and the cost is this debt that we collectively need to take out from this whatever economy, whatever. And so some smart people could do some stupid things, and maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, right? That's sort of the magic of Silicon Valley. People just throw money at smart brains, and that's what YC does, right? It's a bit of a scam, but that's how it works in innovation, in my experience. But that's only in the States, not in Canada. So just don't be in Canada when you do that.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, what was your funding journey like? And I want to add another thing. So, stalking your LinkedIn, you have a lot of experience in sales. And obviously funding a company also, you need money from selling stuff. That's the whole point of doing a company. So maybe you can share some experience on that side. How, I know you've done some pilots, you have clients for your software. So how does that all play in a role of making sure your company stays well funded?
So everything these guys said, I think, is generally pretty correct. My journey, we're at that sort of seed stage where we've got some revenue. So pre-seed, no revenue, seed stage revenue. We're at that stage. Our journey, and one of the things is that was said is Canada's really hard to raise money in. generally speaking. It's really, really hard if you're a hardware company because there's just that many smaller number of VCs or people that'll write checks for that piece of technology or understand it or want to be in that space at all. I started raising money or trying to raise money a little bit last year. We raised in the angel world, so we got some angel funds in what's called a convertible note. So I get some money and it's essentially a loan, but if I can't repay that loan, there's a conversion of that loan into equity into the company, sort of a thing, and then some other rules around it. But that was enough money that we needed, and my team and myself needed to go out and actually get customers to give us money, because that's what a venture cap or that's what an investor really wants. They want to know that there's traction, the word traction. So traction doesn't always mean revenue, but in a lot of cases it's some sort of a revenue that shows that there's a human out there or a company out there that wants to buy the thing that you're building, whatever the hell that thing is that you're building. So you got to show them that that's the case. The chicken and egg thing is, do I get money to build it and then go and sell it, or do I try to build it some other way and then go and sell it? We did the latter. So we tried to build it with as little amount of money as possible, and with our team and our knowledge and just getting shit done kind of attitude, which is what you really got to have. You got to be able to be punched in the face and kicked in the face all day long as a startup founder. But eventually we got to a stage where we had revenue, and that revenue then allows me to go back to the VC world and the investor world and say, hey, I've got some of that traction. And the other thing that revenue does is it keeps my lights on. So it allows me to, eat and feed a family and make sure that people on the team are able to do the same. But it also shows to, at least to an investor, that we can get it done, because with no money, I was able to do a pile of revenue. Just imagine what I could do with money, kind of a thing. And then that changes, and the more revenue you get, the more mature you become as an organization, the less money you need to continue that forward, therefore the less equity you need to give away, or the better valuation you might be able to get as an organization, which means the less equity you'll have to give away. But I did the path of, all right, fine, you want to give me money? I'll do it myself. I wouldn't found the money with customers who want to give me actual money for the thing that I'm buying. And that just comes down to having a really good value proposition, being clear and concise, simple in the concept, and really showing value. And in a world of robots, customers buy robots because they make or save them money. And some of them buy robots because it's cool and they want to sell a story, and they might, get some social media out of it, but they'll never buy the second one. So I focus on the big customers who have real value and who I know if I did it right, they're going to buy a shitload of my things. That's where I would spend my time with.
So the story here at Sienci Labs is actually a bit different, because we didn't raise any money at all. We bootstrapped. Well, we've always bootstrapped, and the way that we did it was first. Okay, well, maybe I can kind of tell a story and get back to the funding part. But basically, when my co-founder Chris and I were in university, we just started building machines in our student residence, and actually Hawaii was the guy who actually bought the first machine. I think I have his check somewhere still, but yeah. So we just started building machines, kind of half for fun, half I did a. Is anyone here from Bet 300? Oh, I had one person back there. Yeah, so I had this elective where you had to come up with a company, and then you would build this company in the class, and you'd learn how to start a company. And so basically, our idea was to build a CNC machine. And yeah, so we also built it kind of for fun, and people saw it. We had a startup showcase thing, and I think Hawaii was oh, that's cool. Can I buy this? And I was like, yeah, sucker, buy it.
I bought it.
Yeah, he bought it. Yeah, and after that, I think probably about 10 people were yeah, I want to buy this machine. So we literally started building them in our garage, and then we would go to the machine shop to make them. So this is the first taste of actually getting money from this. And I think we were selling them for $500 each. So it's not a small amount of money, but it's also not sorry, it's not a big amount of money, but it's also not a small amount of money. If someone handed you $500 and was oh, this is a cool project, here you go, make me another one. That's kind of crazy, especially when you're first year students. So we started building them, and we're like, maybe we can turn this into a business. So we launched a Kickstarter, and like we just eked by with raising like $60,000 on Kickstarter. And this is when we were going into second year. So now we're stuck with $60,000 of a bunch of random people online's money. And so we just started building machines. But we are very lucky because we were able to make a profit on doing it. And so we took that money and we built more machines with the extra money. And then we used that to make more machines. And we've basically just been doing that for 9 years, and that's been like the business model since then. So we've come up with like all these different types of machines, and we will launch it, and people will have to wait months and months for them to get them, and then we take the money and then we build more machines, and the cycle continues. So is it necessary to raise money to start a company? It's arguable. Some people say no, some people say yes. It is possible. Sometimes I wonder if it would have been better if someone else gave us money, because, I remember at some point, one time I went to plant Christmas trees to make some extra money because I was so broke, and that was fun, but I wouldn't want to do that anymore. So. So that's kind of our story.
Sorry for taking the time. So Andy, what he did is called bootstrapping, right? And Avibot, what they did is called a venture funding, right? So rounds after rounds. Cannot have a down round or you go bust. You go through acquisition, falls through, you go bust, right? That's the rounds after rounds. How many people are entrepreneurs?
Couple.
Okay. How many wants to make their own company? Okay, how about half of people? How many people wants to raise money? Most people. Okay.
How many of you are from Waterloo UW?
Everybody?
Everybody? Okay.
Everybody, besides my wife. Okay. So there are 3 ways to raise money or build a business. The best way is what Warren was talking about. I sell it first. That's what Andy did, right? He sell it to dumb people. It's called a fool. They call it visionaries, whatever.
Early adopters.
Oh, visionaries and then early adopters. But they're really just dumb people. They just see something cool, they buy it. So that's perfect. That's called bootstrapping. You organically grow your business with a profit. But what Avibot does, rounds after rounds, they get pre-seed, seed, Series A, and then what Kyle trying to do, also what Uber did, called strap venture or strap scaling. So they bootstrap for a very long time, take minimum money, and bam, when they have something huge, seed strapping, they have something huge, they take PE money. That's what Uber did, right? So it hinges on a huge event, and then they raise a lot of money. They raise 100 million, 100 million, right? And then they just never raise after that. Those are the traditional 3 ways to grow your business, right? Bootstrapping takes 10 years. Fundraising, rounds after round. It could be fast, it could be 5 years. You go IPO, but every round is it's very hard, and it's highly volatile. And the seed-strapping route also, it's a balance of the 2. However, it hinges on that one single big event that Kyle, hopefully is waiting for, right? So there's a 4th way that I was talking to my friend Dave about this earlier in the car right here. It's called venture strapping. So you take you just take a seed round. Let's say it's 1 million. If for software, if it's hardware, you take 2 million, 3 million, and then you just never take money anymore, right? You have a head start, and then you just get to PMF, product market fit, with that money, like what Andy did, but like mass market, and then you just gradually buy back the shares from this $3 million investor, right? and they're happy because they make 2x, 3x within 2 years. They're happy. They're quick, cash turnover, and you're happy because you own still more majority of your venture very quickly. But this has, this demands that you have product market fit as soon as possible. And that's very difficult when you're in Canada, right? So I would advocate for the fourth scenario. That's the ideal scenario. However, the big thing, we as Canadian entrepreneurs, we need to do is just to sell it first. Sell it, not just sell it in Canada, sell it in the US. It may be even in Europe, right? But mostly in US. Sell in the US. If you can demonstrate PMF as early as possible, you're very comfortable taking the money because you're going to have the profit to buy the shares back.
Yeah, cool. I didn't know any of that stuff. Yeah.
I haven't read about it, so.
Okay, I got to read some more books, I guess. Okay, I think another topic that we need to bring up is politics. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. We have our US-Canada trade war. The relationship between North America and China is complicated. I think that if you're in hardware, we're always going to be tied to both US and China in one way or the other. So like for us, about 70% of the machines that we produce go to the US. And right now we have the trade war, the tariffs and all that sort of stuff. And it's been interesting to navigate. So yeah, maybe I can get you guys to talk a little bit about how these relationships are impacting your companies. Maybe I'll give it to Cameron.
Okay, I won't talk as much on the hardware building like supply chain side, but I can talk about when I started building a robot. We built a delivery robot a few years ago, and what was very clear to me was that it was really expensive to build it and design it in Canada, and it was going to be a non-sustainable project at the end of the day, and we were going to lose to China. There's enough products being built in China, and even now being subcontracted and designed in China, that I was never going to be in a situation to be competitive economically with that part of the market. And so that was one interesting piece, and that's where I started to realize and learn that I don't know who's going to be the winner in my little robot category at the time was delivery robots. There's lots of delivery robots out there. Everybody's doing some version of the same thing. And there's going to be a lot more companies that are coming out of it. But I knew that at some level, all or most of those organizations that are building something have a big portion of their supply chain in China. And so that's when we made the pivot as a company to say, okay, well, maybe instead of trying to compete and build this particular robot, why don't we take a step back, a layer back? And for me, it went back to a challenge that I've seen with every robot company that I've ever worked for, or been around in the industry, which is scale. Everybody struggles with the same problem, which is it's not easy, but it's easier to sell customer, your one robot, your one thing, but it's really hard to sell them the next 5, 10, 100, and so on. You really have to have that product market fit. You really have to have and just nail whatever that value proposition is. And it's hard to do that. And it's a lot of it comes down to the product maybe still being developed, your supply chain, the design, a million hardware and challenge design things. But another one is in my case, if I looked at AvidBots, it was sales. Our product had a lot of lumps, but we were good at selling it. So we got people to buy these things, and that's what allowed us to grow. But if those people leave or aren't there, or you have some changes in your staffing and you can't sell that product as much, you're going to run into that same scaling challenge. And so I found that to be the case. When I took a step back and looked at the wider, broader market of robots, I found that each hardware company that was providing a robot to a client, they provided a piece of equipment that solved some sort of a value proposition, solved a problem the customer had, but it was a relatively small sliver in the world of that customer. So in the case of AvidBots, it's a cleaning robot. It's cool. It cleans my floor, but I'm a bank, and cleaning the floor is not part of my real everyday care. So this solved a small piece of my business. And so it was difficult then to get that customer to buy a whole bunch of more robots because they didn't really pay attention to the one little sliver of value. So what I started to build out was this platform that aggregates data across multiple robots and brings them all in. So I don't actually care anymore who's the winner in the cleaning robot world. It doesn't matter to me. We'll work with all of them. They all speak the same language. It's all Ross. It's all the same thing to me. So we look at it as at an aggregate. But now instead of one sliver, there's a cleaning robot, there's a drone robot, there's a robot that does some composting, whatever it is. But together, all of those make a wedge. And that wedge now is of real value to that customer, real economic savings, or making some money. And that's where my software comes in, and it shows that to the customer and makes that a valuable tool set. Building all of that stuff to try to tie this back on the politics side, it was our plan to do all of this in the US. Or anywhere else because Canada wasn't big enough. And then just what happened over the last couple of months is we went to this little trade war with the US, and now Trumponomics has made like Go Canada a real thing. So I can now take this technology and I can go into Canada, and I have a better story than I did yesterday because customers are like, yeah, I want to buy that Canadian thing. That's kind of cool. I like that story. So that's actually been very helpful for us. Is this idea of Canadian-U.S. Trump war stuff? I kind of did a lot of different storylines there, but that's how it's affected at least us and our little business.
Yeah, that's a super interesting way to tie it back. I mean, I'm just thinking like summarizing, whatever's going on in politics in the world. If you're thinking as an entrepreneur, as your business, it's your job to identify, okay, how does this affect my business, my situation? Because it's going to be different for every industry and situation that you're in. Then what are you going to do about it, right? Like, is it negatively affecting your business? Okay, I mean, you can just take that. Or you can try and look for where is the opportunity in the matter. Like, okay, it kind of opened up a new market where there's more incentive, like among Canadians, to say buy Canadian. I definitely feel the same thing with we're introducing like some small side products. Like, there's not even a major technological differentiator there compared to like our main generator that we spend most of our time on. But because it's like we make everything in-house, we make it here in Canada, a lot of customers are really excited to see that, right? So kind of new opportunities are always created by whatever's going on in the world, whatever situation you're in. Just on the general topic of politics though, I think that also doesn't just affect the product supply chain, but like, yeah, how do you pitch the thing that you're already working on? I do have a fun time with talking about our engine, our generator, because one of the key features is it runs on any fuel. We set out from day one to design a diesel generator that uses less diesel. Our stance was like, look, there's still going to be a whole bunch of these big diesel generators in the world. You kind of can't get rid of them because nobody's actually made an effective replacement for it. So you can talk all day until you're blue in the face about, you know, why any other fuel or electric is better. Great. The customers, they want something better, but they're still stuck with a diesel generator. So that's what we aim to serve. If you're stuck with that, at least use less. We, over time, as we developed the engine, realized this is really good at all the other fuels, pure hydrogen, methanol, ammonia, like all the zero emission stuff as well. And that's our motivation, is transition to zero emissions. Now, depending on who you're talking to, you have to calibrate your pitch to that. If you're talking to someone who is steadfast, like fossil fuels all the way, I can still pitch to that guy and say, yeah, will save you money. Like, yep, it's a piston engine, it burns natural gas and diesel, and it uses less, meaning more money in your pocket. Heck yeah, I can get behind that, right? If I'm talking to someone who's steadfast, like we should not be making any more carbon emissions, I agree. I do believe in global warming. Like, let's do something active about it. This is a practical financial approach to actually get us there. And you can use hydrogen and zero emissions fuels in it. And then even the person who doesn't believe in more of the climate change things and is a bit more steadfast against it, well, as long as I get them my product and get them using it, now all of a sudden if you put the fuel in front of them and say, well, here's hydrogen, you don't have to change anything, this runs on it too. Like, they're not going to shove it off so much, right? So, you know, you can have a internal motivation yourself, something that you truly believe in, and say, I want to help solve climate change with the product I'm developing. Politics is going to exist around you, but you as the entrepreneur trying to solve your mission, it's more so your job to succeed in doing that with the thing you're building rather than just be talking about it, right? If I talk to the public and say all day everything should be zero emissions, well, I'm going to get more pushback from inevitably some customers who don't believe in those things. My goal is to get my product into everyone's hand, including the customers who don't necessarily believe in that internal mission. But if they get using it and they love it, well, they're kind of coming over to my side now, and ultimately I'm achieving my goal that's doing real, tangible good in the world. Talk is talk, but what's actually happening in reality, that matters.
I think some of the tailwinds of politics and policies can also help to drive what you end up building at the end of the day. That's another version of kind of what you just said, right? Like, you might really be passionate about chairs, but nobody gives a shit about chairs, so it's not really a thing you should be building. Even though you really like it, you're not gonna make a lot of money on it. But right now, AI is a big thing in Canada, especially after this Trumponomics sort of change in policies. We've got a new minister of AI named Evan Solomon. So that's a big thing for Canada. Never done that before. What does that tell me? It tells me that there's going to be money over the next many years that will be put into funds that are going to be funding companies that are building things in Canada that sound like an AI thing. So put some AI into your business somehow. I use AI to code, or I use AI as an output. We use AI for both, so that's a good story for us. But the politics piece and paying attention to politics, at least for me, it helps to drive some of the storyline and even some of the product development and the focuses that we have, because I know that there's money there, and I know that therefore going to be customers and focuses there. And if, in my case, we sell to some municipalities, so they're kind of at the end of that tail. They're slow to move, but whatever is happening and prevailing in the politics world, eventually it's going to make it to them. So I make sure I have a product that fits their need, because I know they're probably going to pay for it. It's going to be easy for them, and it's going to fit really nicely into what they're looking for when they're doing their RFPs or whatever it might be. So politics helps in that respect.
I agree. So yeah, pragmatically, 35% tariff with the U.S. And there's way, around that. If your origin, you can claim origin in Canada, right? That number drops dramatically and so on. So there are pragmatic ways to navigate any situation, and the way more not abstract. I really, echo what Kyle's saying, right? Like, I think the robustness in your political empathy, right? When you talk to international customers, is what is the hallmark of Canadians, right? If you survey the Chinese propaganda, Canada is the only white country that's a positive sentiment, right? If you go around the world, everybody loves the Canadian. They don't, like, there's no, like, nobody hates the Canadian. Like, if I say things here, like, I'm not gonna get shot, right? Like, Canadians are very level-minded. I call it, we're very, three qualities we have. We're very we're very resilient, right? We're conservative a little bit too, but we're also very honest, right? You can call it raw, you can call it naive, whatever. And people appreciate that, especially in today's very polarized world. And that's a good, very strong position to be. Having that political sensitivity is paramount, right? You don't want to piss off people unnecessarily, but just like strategically positioning, we are very well positioned to sell to anybody, to have a different value proposition. When you talk to European guys, who cares about like environment? When you talk to the US guys, when you talk to the Saudi guys, right? Having that sprinkle, like Warren said, sprinkle that magic dust of AI, of biotech, of environmental sustainability. It's like installing this turbo fan that catches the tailwind, right? And be smart about it. And as Canadians, we don't have a strong supply chain, right? We don't have a strong market. but we do have strong technology. We have very talented people. And this makes us very flexible, right? Politically, technologically, to catch these tailwinds. So I think that's our strength that we really need to leverage. Yeah.
Okay, I think I see people kind of fidgeting because their butts hurt. Why don't we all just stand up for a sec, and then I want to let Huayi unbox his thingy. Yeah. So yeah, let's all just stand up for a sec. I'll let Huayi do his live unboxing, and then we'll wrap it up with some questions from the audience.
Cool. Thank you, Andy. Sure. Yeah, I brought one of the composters from Toronto. This, yeah. Maybe I'll just unbox a little bit. People can take a look. We do have special promotions as well. We're rolling out our leasing program, $1 per day type of deal. So if you want to jump on board, come to me. I have some QR code magnet thing. Can grab one for yourself, for your family, whatever. Cool. Where's the smoke? No smoke. Okay. Okay. So that is the Lila composter. It has the Iron Man thing, LED in the middle, has two eyes, anthropomorphic. Looks like a little robot. Hopefully it's not an eyesore in anybody's home. We actually got the best, when we represented Canada in CES 2025 this year, we are voted the best some award for some home thing. I forgot. But that's pretty cool. So yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Can you move it over so like we can? Yeah, it's cool. No. Yeah, it's cool. Whatever. Okay. Yeah. So I want to ask one last question before we wrap it up, and then we'll start the questions. So. Yeah. So all of us, we've been in this ecosystem for a really long time. Like I've known at least Kyle and Huayi or Edward for like 10 plus years now, right? Like we've all been doing hardware for a decade. It's crazy. That's like more than a third of my life. Yeah. And I'm sure I know Cameron for another decade, hopefully. Yeah, definitely. So I guess my last question is, one, how has your experience been in working in our ecosystem in Canada as a hardware company? And second, what do you want to see change? And third, I lied, there's actually 3 questions. What do we want to do to make changes and improvements in the hardware ecosystem in Canada?
That's a lot of questions. So, what was the first one again?
Like, how has your experience been?
Experience has been good. The ecosystem is strong depending on where you are. This town is very cliquey as a specific ecosystem. It's very cliquey. I've found depending on where you go in the country, there are some really collaborative areas and others that aren't so much. But I can say that Canada has some unbelievable talent, super incredibly smart people doing really ridiculously amazing things. And what's been sad for me is when I see all those wonderful talented people leave and go somewhere else. And that goes back to some politics discussions that is a whole other hour-long panel. But the community, when you're in it, when you're in the founder community at least, and being in my shoes, it's been really strong. It's been really cool to see other founders who are going through struggles, and it's a lonely world when you're in a founder world. It's been cool to be a part of a community of people that are so incredibly supportive. That's been really neat for me to be a part of. What was the next question?
what do you want to see change?
I would like to see a lot of things changed, but I think there is an opportunity for this country to really double down on this community and people that build things. Building shit is hard, and we don't give enough support and credence and credit to the people that do that, and I think there's an opportunity, and that goes back to losing all this talent. I think there's an opportunity here in Canada to really spend time, energy, and support from a political level, and then even from a community level, to empower more people to start more businesses. Like the stats, I forget the number, but the lowest number of people per 100 starting and founding companies in Canada is now. It's never been like this before because it's hard, and there isn't enough of an ecosystem on that support level, probably economically or whatever, to make it worth your while to start it. And it's easier to go and again do that maybe somewhere else, and that needs to change. So I'd like to see that changed for sure, because there's just so much opportunity here that we're missing. I think that was it. What was the third one?
What do you want to do? What are you going to do?
Good question. So right now we are actively exploring the U.S. and that's where I'm going to get.
Hypocrite.
That's where I'm. Well, again, tailwinds. You go, selling into the U.S. You got to go where there's money, and right now there's money into the U.S. The good thing about selling a piece of software is I can actually go anywhere. So my product scales really well, and I can go to any country in the planet Earth. And it's so we're looking very quickly at where can we go in places for lowest friction, right? Fastest path to revenue. That revenue allows us to be more sustainable as our own business, or give us a better path to be able to go and get some of that venture money that we might want to go and get and grow from there. So that's where we're going.
Also, Warren, you're gonna sell the product, sell the composter in your package, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Awesome, thank you. Awesome. Okay. My experience. So I really like Canada. That's why I stayed. I came when I was 16. I stayed here for 20 years. I'm 38. I'm old as fuck, a little bit, just a little bit. But I got married, and my wife loves a little bit also. She likes Canada. She doesn't like U.S. So that's why I don't go to U.S. I don't live there. My experience with Canada is fantastic. Because it's very liberating. You know, I came from China. It's not liberating in China. Although I was the head of class, whatever, all of that shit. But you don't have the liberty. It's a big, the Great Firewall of China really castrates your thoughts and so on. So I didn't really like that. Nowadays it's a little bit better with VPNs and so on. And I did go back to China last year, and just it's so great. But it's really cyberpunk, right? So China has went through the economic miracle in the last 30 years, 12%, CAGR year over year. That's insane, and that has never happened in human civilization, ever. It will not happen again in the future, because so many major things happened together for that economic miracle. So my advice for you is to get a Chinese girlfriend from a math department, and learn Mandarin. Because if you, I just came back from Silicon Valley, and so many rich Chinese people there, and they're just all angels waiting to throw money at people. It's adorable if you talk Mandarin to them, and just that's the first language I would advise that everyone learns. And the best way to learn it is to get yelled at by your girlfriends and boyfriends and so on. I really believe that. That's a real piece of advice that I do as well. Imagine you speak English, right? You have all of the market guys that buys your shit, and then you speak Mandarin, all of the guys that makes the shit for you. So that's great. You just need to stand in the middle, use the innovation money from the government that we pay tax for, right? To fund research. That's what I do. And that's really the leverage. I think technology is the exponential return, the compounding factor thing that, every so many years really fucks everybody over. Like we have the AI and the robot swarm that's coming up. Everybody gonna lose their job. What's gonna happen? They already took white-collar jobs. They're gonna take the blue-collar jobs next. It's already happening in China. The industrial robots are going to happen in the US as well. So what are we going to do with this big, fat reservoir of brain cycles that doesn't have meaningful jobs, that just go to rallies and yell at each other, right? What's the meaningful societal solution for that? I think that represents a huge business opportunity for everybody. How to optimize the gross domestic happiness, right? Not just to live forever and become Superman. There are so many meaningful things we could think about and contribute to. Canada is great because we're not in the thick of it. So we have this, freezing winter to contemplate on deep shit, and we are the highest per capita in terms of resources in the world, right? Yet our economy stagnated for the past 10 years. Hopefully it's gonna get better. So there's a lot of good stuff that's happening for us. The only thing is just, again, get that Chinese Mandarin speaking girlfriend so you're just robust, you have access to supply chain. And also, just do the right thing, right? Do the thing that you think creates value for yourself. Society wants it. And then you can really use AI and media to build the leverage and create wealth and so on. So I think we're like Canada, really good future version of society. Like it's fantastic. So I'm very optimistic.
Also a big fan of Canada. We've fought hard to stay here. We plan to keep it here forever. Definitely want to keep growing into line here, and also we plan to continue manufacturing our engines here. I think it would be pretty cool to be the only manufacturer of industrial engines in Canada, because we don't have one right now. But yeah, I mean, all the pieces of the puzzle are there. We've got everything from the raw materials all the way to the very advanced research and talent that comes out of this country. Why let it leave, And it's a beautiful country at that. So yeah, long term, I'm here for the long run. Yeah, in regards to the community here, definitely agree. Like, in this region in particular, it's quite of an interesting anomaly that you do have this concentration of entrepreneurial spirit and talent and a lot of amazing founders and companies that come out of this region. Unfortunately, a lot of them sort of spread out and leave. But even when they do leave, like the founders still have ties here, still come back. It's still kind of part of the community and network. I think that would be more my comment is whether it's hardware, software, anything you're doing, building a company is hard. Your chances of success are very slim. A lot of it comes down to not just talent, not just customer base, but who do you know, right? The amount of times where, you can just get an intro to an investor or an intro to a customer, or you're in a bind and a fellow founder company can help you out, or even just like we've all said, it's a difficult, lonely world being a founder. Best person to understand that and be a sounding board and just talk things through is other founders. So, I definitely don't take that for granted, that concentration of the network here. What I'd like to see grow and happen more in the future is it to not be so small, like just to this region. I think, all these people that you meet, great founders, it's not like we all were born and grew up in Waterloo. Everybody just kind of comes here, and it's not to say that other companies, other founders in other regions throughout Canada are any less. Definitely not. So my thought is more so like, why keep it so isolated? You know, it should start to expand out where it's not just the Waterloo region being the innovation center, but more of the GTA, more of Ontario, more of Canada as a whole, where that sort of tight network where founders help each other out, are friendly, and we're all trying to help each other succeed is not so isolated. I think that's how we as a country collectively grow stronger and make use of all the incredible talent and resources that we have here. So, you know, would like to see that in the future. My contribution to it would be continuing to grow my company here, and anytime I come across other founders, help out where I can. I think everyone I've met has been willing to do the same. I've never heard of any founder in this region who's like, yeah, I don't like you, I don't want to help you. You know, Canadians are friendly. And I think that's what makes us strong. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Awesome, thank you guys. Okay, so yeah, we'll open up the floor for questions. Is that other blue mic still working? All right, we got Gabe. Hello. Hello. Oh,
This is the one that's on. All right.
Okay, we'll use that.
Okay, so I'll be running the microphone. Any questions? Raise your hand and you'll get the microphone.
Hello. Okay, let's try this one. Hello. So yeah, I just had a quick question. I know a lot of you mentioned the great talent in Canada. Obviously, we're near the University of Waterloo, and we produce a lot of great builders and engineers. But I guess the thing I want to ask about is, like, what are you going to do to actually give them incentive to stay? So I think personally, there's a lot of incentive to go to the US, bigger salaries, more exciting work. But as founders, like, what is going to keep the talent in Canada?
I guess I got the mic, so I'll start. I mean, I think it's definitely company driven. Like, you know, the variety of businesses here would help. You know, I think a lot of startups are software, okay, and then maybe they go to they raise money, that's it. I think we're doing something pretty interesting here. Like, we are in an odd niche. I can only speak for myself. All right, we're building engines from scratch. Whenever we put up a posting that we're hiring, I do get a pretty, like, surprisingly overwhelming response. It's not like we can pay an incredibly, like, dominating salary. You know, we do the best we can, but I think whenever we do put that opportunity out there, like, yeah, there's a hardware thing here. I think what we see is people do kind of want to stay here, right? Like, it's not like everybody's, like, keen to just get out of Canada in general. It's so much so that they're looking for the opportunity. People want to work on what they're passionate about, and if it's not here, they leave. So, you know, as any founder building something in any industry niche, the more encouragement for the founders to fight to stay here in the first place, I think is what will help get the ball rolling. And then the talent kind of has a reason to stay here if the thing you're passionate about exists as a company in this region. So I guess further to, how do we make that happen? I mean, on one hand, there's an investor responsibility. That scene needs to improve a lot here to really help things along. But from, you know, the founder's perspective, I think, you know, there's a lot of people who say, like, oh, just go to the US, it's way easier to raise money. There's too much, like, narrative around, like, just go do that. And I think there needs to be more narrative around, you know, us founders not just complaining and saying, oh yeah, it's better, go raise money in the US, but, like, actually talking it up. Like, yeah, I wanted to be here, I fought to be here, and I'm still enjoying it. It's a little harder on raising the money portion, but, you know, we're not in this business to do what's easy. We're in this business to do what's hard. And then when we succeed, well, we're that much more badass than the person who took the easy route. So I think that helps a bit.
I have maybe just a really simple answer, but if you're expecting to get Silicon Valley money and work in Canada, reset your expectations. It's really not going to happen. There might be some very, very weird, odd cases where that is going to happen, where you're really getting US money, but for the most part, that's just not how it works. We don't have the capital resources to be able to do that, generally speaking. But you also have to look at what you really get here in Canada is quality of life, right? It's the best country in the world. I bleed red and white. I don't want to leave. I could leave. We could go anywhere. I could take my family and leave and go to many other countries around the world and make money and probably get some investment and do all those wonderful things, but I don't want to do that. I like this country and I want to stay here. So what you get here is you get quality of life. You get to work on something that you're passionate about. You get to be around an ecosystem of amazing human beings that are doing really cool things. Yes, the government could do better. Yes, there's all kinds of things that we could do as a country to make it easier and better for people to want to stay here. But I get that sometimes from when I talk to an engineer who's looking for a job. Well, I can get so much money from Apple. It's like, great. Well, go. Good luck. Go to Apple, and spend 8 times your salary for a house, and your rent and everything is super expensive, and you're just not gonna have a great time. And then right now on my desk, I have five resumes from really good engineers who are all in the U.S. and they all want to come back home. And they're all really excited to come back home. And they're scrambling for a job, any job, give me a job, I want to come back home. So there's something about that, and that tells me this is an awesome country. So if that helps at all.
I think the other thing to acknowledge, is immigration, because it's not just talent leaving Canada, but we also get a lot of people coming to Canada. Like just our company alone, we have people from Brazil, India. I'm blanking. Well, I'm trying to think of specific. I'm not even born here, so there's a lot of talent that comes into our company from overseas, move to Canada as well. So I think we also need to acknowledge there is talent coming in, and we have people from South Africa and where else? The U.S. that also work for the company as well. So it's a two-way street, I would say. Ultimately, it's like a simple formula. Why would people want to work for a specific company? If they do cool stuff, they align with the values, and they get compensated well enough, that's the only thing I think companies can really focus on to draw talent to where they are. Canada is cold though, so sometimes I do also regret moving here, but that's a different story.
But not really.
Huh?
But not really, right?
Oh, it's so cold. Okay. Hey, you want to add anything, Edward? Hello?
Questions? Questions?
Any other questions?
You just want to get out of here. Take it easy.
Okay, maybe we talked too much already. All right, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thank you everyone for coming. We'll have some tours. Oh, we also have some gifts. We also have some gifts for the speakers. So if someone can grab those, that would be nice. I see commotion in the back.
Yeah, Sabrina's.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's all get up and start mingling again. I have a poster over there, so if you want to join in on a tour, feel free to congregate in that direction. And we have some people from the company to show people around. So thank you everyone.
Thank you. Cool stuff. Yeah. I thought we were gonna take shots before. What are we doing?